to the NFL, all 32. What's going on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all platforms, and welcome to the all 32 NFL teams. We're going to be talking about all 32 NFL teams on this new podcast here on Big Pat Sports Talk. And today we're going to be talking about the quarterbacks who have the highest expectations and the ones that are under the most pressure going into the 2024 NFL season. So we're going to be listening to the Speak For Yourself podcast, and they're going to be talking about the quarterbacks going into this 2024 season. So we're going to listen and we're going to react. So let's get into it.
Who has the most pressure next season? Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson are both entering critical seasons in their careers. Watson missed 12 games in each of the last 2 seasons, while Rodgers still has only 1 Super Bowl appearance in his career way back in 2010. Now, CJ Stroud and Jordan Love are both coming off excellent first seasons as starters. Stroud became the youngest quarterback to win a playoff game, and Love led the Packers to the divisional round. And finally, we got 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, who continue to rack up regular season wins and numbers, but each have struggled in the postseason, especially against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. We got.
Okay, so I'm sorry, this is first take. As you see some of the quarterbacks they mentioned: Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, I think I just said Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers. You got Dak Prescott. You got Tua. You got a lot of quarterbacks that you have to talk about this in this 2024 season. So I'm gonna give you my quarterbacks that have the most expectations and have to live up to those expectations. It's gonna be Lamar Jackson is number 1 for me. He's expected to win a Super Bowl. He was the MVP of last season, and believe it or not, he's expected to win the Super Bowl over Patrick Mahomes. He couldn't get it done last season, and I think that's where the Chiefs were their most vulnerable last year because their receiving core was not very well. They had injuries throughout the season, and they weren't playing their best football until that defense started playing its best football throughout the playoffs. So Lamar Jackson's number 1. Most expectations, Aaron Rodgers, I got number 2. He's expected to be the Jet savior, and he got hurt the very first series of last year and missed all last year. So I got him at number 2. I got Josh Allen at number 3. The pressure is on Josh Allen, and the expectations are extremely high because they want a Super Bowl over there in Buffalo. The Jim Kelly years, they made it to 4 Super Bowls, didn't win 1. Now the Josh Allen years, they cannot seem to get past Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. They had many a battle, and Patrick Mahomes always seems to beat them. They got rid of Stephon Diggs, so now more of the onus is on Josh Allen to get it done over in Buffalo. I'm going to say this, Joe Burrow, I got him number 4. Joe Burrow over there with the Bengals, he's going to have to get this done because the dynamic duo of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins going forward may not be there after this year. And he's had those guys for going on 3 years now. And he made it to a Super Bowl but lost to the Rams, and he's expected to get to a Super Bowl now. Their window is now, and they believe that they have the team to get it done. But like other teams, they got to get through the Chiefs. And number 5, CJ Stroud going into his sophomore year. He had a extremely good rookie year. He's expected to build up off that. And go in there, and he's expected to go deep in the playoffs. Might not have Super Bowl aspirations if you're not a Texans fan, but he's expected to go in there and play against the Lamar Jacksons, play against the Patrick Mahomes, play against the top quarterbacks in the league, the top quarterbacks in the AFC to get a deep run into the playoffs. He's expected to win the division again. So we gonna see. But let's see what these guys have to say.
Courtney, Chris, and Sam all here. Courtney, I'm going to start with you. Which quarterback has the highest expectations?
It's easily Deshaun Watson. And then I think there's a gap between everyone else on that list.
So she believes it's Deshaun Watson. Let's see what she's talking about.
Of course, it has to do with the contract that he was given, 5 years, $230 million, fully guaranteed.
That's legit. He's expected to produce. He hasn't done anything since he's been able to start for the Browns. The first year, he was suspended. Second year, lackluster. Last year, lackluster. So he does have expectations to live up to that fully guaranteed contract. Really, his contract has really messed it up for other quarterbacks to get super guaranteed money like that, all the way guaranteed. But it is what it is, man. He's definitely going to have to produce. I agree.
For him to play in 6 games each of the last 2 seasons, one due to injury, which was last year, and then due to the suspension the year before. The Browns have so much at stake here, and I'm talking about a team that went to the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco as their quarterback after Watson was put on season-ending injured reserve. For Watson to live up to the expectations that he can still be that guy that was in Houston in 2020, leading the league in passing, setting career high in completion percentage that year.
Yeah, his last year in Houston was pretty good before the whole massage scandal went, and she is absolutely right. After Deshaun Watson went down, that team shot through the roof and made it to the playoffs. Now, they got smoked by the Texans in the first round, but they made it to the playoffs with Joe Flacco. So if they can make it to the playoffs with Joe Flacco, they definitely are expecting to make a big run with Deshaun Watson, a $230 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed quarterback. So I do not blame her for saying Deshaun Watson. When you really think about it, you got Amari Cooper there. You got Njoku there. They just who did they trade for? I think they just got Jerry Jeudy over there. They got a good offensive line. They got Chubb coming back. They got a top-ranked defense. I'm quite sure they will expect that their $230 million fully guaranteed quarterback can at least get them to where they were last year and above that, because you're supposed to be better than a Joe Flacco. You're supposed to be way better than a Joe Flacco. So I do understand her sentiment, man. Good choice.
Does that guy exist anymore? Because we really don't know if...
We don't know if that guy exists anymore. That's a legit question. Does Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans still exist? We're going to see this season.
That version of Deshaun Watson was something that, because of a lot of different reasons, is in the past, or if he's still that quarterback that the Browns thought they were getting when they decided to pull off this trade, which, by the way, we talk about the money a lot. Let's not forget 3 first-round draft picks they gave up, the 3rd rounder in 2023, and there's 2 4th-rounders in there. That's a lot of draft capital that the Browns shipped out on top of the money. And
she is cooking. You do have to consider the draft compensation they gave up as well. You heard multiple first-round picks, multiple thirds, couple of fourths, and a fully guaranteed contract. And you mean to tell me you can't play more than 6 games for us in a season? And the only time we've made the playoffs is when old man Joe Flacco came and led us to the playoffs. And our defense, you're supposed to be the guy that they fully trust to take them over the top. That's why they gave you the contract. That's why they gave up the draft capital. So, yeah, she's cooking.
Not just Deshaun Watson that has a lot riding on this season. There are jobs on the line in Cleveland if this experiment doesn't pan out the way that they had hoped. And the glimmer of hope I think that you have here is knowing that he's healthy now. He had the offseason shoulder surgery, ended up playing through that in the game that might have been his best game last year, was where against Baltimore. I want to see that version of Deshaun Watson more often. The Week 10 game, which was the last time we saw him, like a horrific first half, and then in the second half, something clicks. And it wasn't like he just flipped a switch, but 14 completed passes, about 150 yards passing, and a touchdown to come from behind and win. That version of him seems to still be there, but can we see it on a 17-game basis? I'm not so sure just yet.
And I agree with you, man. I totally agree with you, man. That Deshaun Watson might be long gone, and if so, that's a sad case for the Browns, himself, and the NFL, because Deshaun Watson was one of the marquee quarterbacks that you wanted to watch in the NFL during his time with the Houston Texans. So we're going to have to see exactly if he can come back and become Deshaun Watson again. We'll see.
Well, Courtney, I love your answer, but I think you're answering the wrong question. The question is, which quarterback has the highest expectations? The only answer, in my opinion, to that question is C.J. Stroud. And the reason why I say that is this. C.J. Stroud last year is coming off of a offensive rookie of the year performance, over 4,000 yards, I believe over about 25 touchdowns, played outstanding. And so that was year one. How do you follow up year one? Well, let's talk about the brain trust. What did they do? What did Houston do? They went and got another number one receiver to go with Nico Collins, to go with Tank Dell in the slot. They got Stephon Diggs. We saw the monumental jump in production that Josh Allen had when he had Stephon Diggs. Not just any number one, but Stephon Diggs. Now you have Stephon Diggs in your second year to add to your offensive rookie of the year performance.
And that's absolutely true. I believe this guy here, Sam Acho, that's absolutely true. When you really think about it, they had Nico Collins already. Tank Dell's going to be coming back off injury. He'll be healthy in the beginning of the season. Then they added Stephon Diggs on top of having Dalton Schultz. Now, if he did 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns his rookie year, the expectations are going to be higher. You made it to this divisional round of the playoffs last year, C.J. Stroud, and now you have an ultimate number one weapon with the another number one weapon in Nico Collins. With Tank Dell, could be one of the best slot receivers in the game now that he has those two monsters on the outside. Offensive line is still half decent, to say the least. Now the running game may have to pick it up a little bit, but yeah. Sam Acho, this is not a bad answer either. C.J. Stroud is definitely going to have high expectations this year. The whole national media is showing him love. They're saying he's the next big thing, and they've been giving him mad love here in this offseason. So he's going to be expected to throw another 4,000 yards, maybe 30 or more touchdowns now, and maybe get to the AFC Championship game, maybe go against Mahomes. Maybe he's the guy that can beat Mahomes. The only other guy to do that was Burrow for 1 year, because Josh Allen hasn't done it. Lamar Jackson hasn't done it. Justin Herbert hasn't done it. He got paid. Prince Charming over there with the Jacksonville Jaguars, he got paid, and he can't even make it to Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, the expectations is going to be high on C.J. Stroud, Mr. Acho. I do agree. You're smiling and grinning and everything, but you had a good answer, so I'm going to let you pass.
Performance. Not only that, but you have continuity with your offensive coordinator. Bobby Slowick is still there. He had head coaching opportunities, didn't take them. He stayed as the OC, so continuity. Joe Mixon is your running back now. There's so much continued, not only success, but even improvement.
I forgot that they did get Joe Mixon at running back. So he has Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Hutchinson to back them up. You got the other guy from Alabama, Michi. Man, he has an abundance of weapons over there. So he should be having high expectations over there. He has a decent offensive line. They shored up the run game with Joe Mixon. You have a good outlet security blanket in Dalton Schultz. You have a good slot receiver in Tank Dell. You have two good outside receivers. You have one of the best offensive coordinators in the game. One of the best coaches, up-and-coming coaches in the game. Your defense played very well last year. This team is actually kind of stacked. Mr. Acho, you're kind of cooking. You're kind of cooking. You're kind of cooking, man. Okay, I got you. Yeah. When you really think about it, C.J. Stroud and them, they should be pretty doggone good, because you got weapons enough for two hands to show. So, yeah, C.J. Stroud, let's get it done. They crowned you next. You're going to have to show it.
Improvement along that team. And so that's why I think that C.J. Stroud, I think, is the quarterback with the highest expectations. And I go back to that last piece about recency. You said, okay, man, that guy in Houston, is he still there when Deshaun left? That guy is there. That guy is currently in Houston. That guy is C.J. Stroud. Deshaun Watson, I think he'll have success, but I believe the expectations for him have been lowered based off of him not playing a lot the last several years. And so that's why I think C.J. Stroud is a better answer than your answer.
Good answer, Mr. Sam Acho. That's why he was smiling so hard. You know what? I got to give credit what credit is due. I like guys like this in the media who state facts and state the obvious things that you're supposed to be looking at when you're evaluating a team. That man, C.J. Stroud, he has the media behind him. He pretty much has the whole world behind him, because they're glazing him in the media. He's great. So you got the media behind you. You got your organization who's putting everything in place for you. You have Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Joe Mixon, a good offensive line, a good defense, a good coach, a good offensive coordinator. This is going to be your second year in the system. Nothing had to change because your offensive coordinator stayed to coach you. So nothing changed. So yeah, expectations are super high for CJ Stroud. And Sam Alcho, thank you for opening my eyes, because now my expectations for CJ Stroud are even higher. So yeah, let's do it.
Understandable. It's not right though. It's Aaron Rodgers, and
yeah, I don't really like this guy here, man. This Alfred Hitchcock looking guy, man. He says some weird things sometimes, man. I'm just starting to see him in the media, but he just said Aaron Rodgers. Let's listen to what he has to say, and let's listen to his reasoning.
the reason is Aaron Rodgers has been talked about more than anyone over a 2-year period in professional sports history.
Hey, that's a fact. Aaron Rodgers has been talked about with the Jets, going over there with the Jets, and he got injured the very first series. Ruptured his Achilles, and he was supposed to come back and wasn't able to come back, and now the Jets are a stacked team, and yeah, I can say his expectations are high, but let's see if he can top CJ Stroud.
And did less on the field. 4 actual plays. Think about this. Last time Aaron Rodgers threw for 300 yards, Tom Brady was still more than a year away from retirement.
Wow. Okay, wow.
That's how long ago it was. It was December of 2021. Yet somehow the Jets are still expected to win the division in the AFC East with a team that includes the Buffalo Bills. They expect that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the savior of this team when he has not done anything since getting there. And I get it. He got hurt. It's horrible luck. He has the expectations of an entire city to lift a team that has never been a real factor in the last 40 years. They made it to a couple AFC championship games, and that was about it. This was somebody that was supposed to finally put them over the top.
Jets, Jets. Mr. Aaron Rodgers, your expectations are pretty doggone high for the New York Jets. They were last year, but you only played, I believe, 4 snaps for them last year before you snapped your Achilles. And I did not know you haven't thrown for 300 yards since 2021. That is absolutely a crazy stat. But a lot of people don't pay attention to that when you're beloved in the media and you're talked about as much as Aaron Rodgers as being basically God's gift at the quarterback position. I will say this, you are a bad man, to quote Stephen A. Smith, when you are on your game. But that just goes to show you that quarterbacks need weapons around them. He could not get that done with the Packers in his last season. He came on a little bit with those guys over there. Jordan Love, you know, he's been practicing with those guys for a year or two now, and he's showing you how you get it done with those receivers. Aaron Rodgers basically told him, hey, I ain't got time to train these little pups anymore. Trade me so I can get to a team to where I can try to win another Super Bowl before I retire from this NFL. So, are the expectations high for Aaron Rodgers over there? Heck yeah, they actually are pretty high. And to be honest with you, the only reason why I would put him over CJ Stroud as far as expectations, listening to these arguments, is because it's Super Bowl or bust for the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers this year. I believe Aaron Rodgers, this may be his last year. He may give it one more year if they have a very good year this year. But if they have a year like they did last year, Aaron Rodgers will retire and the Jets will be in quarterback hell once again. So, I actually pay attention to what this little dude, little double chin dude is saying on here with Aaron Rodgers. I do believe the expectations are super high. And to be honest with you, they have to be higher than CJ Stroud because Aaron Rodgers is 40 and it's Super Bowl or bust with the Jets. I don't think they make it out the AFC East. I believe they're worse than the Dolphins and the Bills. But New York Jets fans, they do believe Aaron Rodgers is their savior and he will take them to the promised land this year. And I do not believe that myself. Being a New York Giants fan, hey, I can't talk too much about the New York Jets. We are having our issues as well with our quarterback, who has some expectations for himself in Mr. Daniel Jones. His expectation is to come out and play very well and show that he can be a franchise quarterback or he will get the boot. That's just plain and simple. But there's plenty of quarterbacks with high expectations. You know, Patrick Mahomes, a Super Bowl bust, but I can't really put him in there because he's lived up to the expectations every year. You got quarterbacks like Tua that's trying to get himself a contract like Prince Charming and like Justin Herbert over there that got paid with the Chargers. And speaking of Justin Herbert, he has high expectations now, losing Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and now he's going to have to step it up and be that guy. Can he be a clutch quarterback this upcoming season to get the Chargers over the hump? Who knows? But there's plenty of quarterbacks in the league that have expectations. You could go to Kyler Murray, getting Marvin Harrison Jr. over there. He's going to have expectations to get the Cardinals back in playoff consideration. And let's not forget Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's playing for another contract over there with the Cowboys. Can he get the Cowboys to the promised land? Because it's Super Bowl a bust for him as well. And the Cowboys didn't do too much in the offseason to make themselves better. Then you got quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, he's expected to get to a Super Bowl a bust with A.J. Brown, Smith getting paid. Kelsey retired, but they got Jurgens coming in at center. They're still expected to be very well. And they signed the New York Giants' best player in Saquon Barkley. Can't wait to play you guys so we can knock Saquon Barkley out. And yeah, you can say expectations for just about every quarterback in the league, man. There's very high expectations for these guys. And I'm not mad at these guys' answer, but my legit answer, the quarterback with the highest expectations, I'm going to have to go with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, he is expected to have better playoff success. He hasn't had the playoff success that you would want out of an MVP quarterback, a two-time MVP quarterback. Highly regarded as one of the better quarterbacks in the league, if not one of the best, top three at least. As far as playing the quarterback position in NFL, he's exciting, he's young, he's a leader, he has a very good team, he has a very good running game. They've drafted receivers in the first round to put with him, Zay Flowers, all type of guys over there. They brought OBJ last year, did not work out. Mark Andrews is going to be healthy, so we're going to have to see what Lamar Jackson is going to do this year. Lamar Jackson, it is Super Bowl a bust for the Ravens, and you can't tell me any different. That man has to win a Super Bowl. He's won MVPs. He's won Offensive Player of the Year. He's one of the most excited players that play in the NFL right now. He has he got his money. He got fully guaranteed money. So yeah, the expectations are super high for him going into this 2024 season. That's my answer. Guy right here gave Aaron Rodgers. Sam Acho gave C.J. Stroud, which was one heck of an argument. And the lady who was cooking in the very beginning gave Deshaun Watson. I believe Deshaun Watson may be in the same boat as Daniel Jones. You got to show us something. We're going to have to get rid of you. So, yeah. That's my answer, man. The quarterback with the highest expectations for the 2024 season, it is Lamar Jackson for me, man. He's gonna have to go out there and prove that you can win in the playoffs, you can win in clutch moments, you can throw the ball with the best of them. He's gonna have to win a Super Bowl for the Ravens in order to legitimize the praise that he gets in my mind. But hey, I'd like to thank you guys for watching the All 32 with Big Pat Sports Talk, the All 32 podcast, man. One of my first episodes, going to be doing a whole lot more episodes throughout the season, throughout this off season. You're going to catch Big Pat everywhere with Giants content, All 32 team content, NFL content. It's going to be right here, man. So thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button. Hit that big blue join button if you want to join the Big Blue Crew and come and support the Big Blue Crew Sports Network right here and talk your talk with Big Pat Sports Talk. And cop you some merch. The All 32 merch is coming out. The Big Pat Sports Talk merch is in there. What Are You Doing collection. Man, check it out, man, and go copy some merch, man. And when you do, let me know when you got it, man. But until the next episode of the All 32, you know what it is, man. Peace. Welcome to the NFL All 32.